Talkin Beavers is presented by Par Lumber. Oregon State does what it needs to do to get the win against Colorado on Saturday. 26-19, they take down the Buffs and move forward to face the Cardinal this week. Welcome into Talkin Beavers. I'm Aiden McCord alongside Jayson Baptise, defensive end for OSU 2001, 2003, and of course the voice of the Beavers, Mike Parker. You guys, this was an important win for Oregon State. Mike, I want to start with you. What did you see in Boulder that they were able to get it done?
I called the play-by-play on the radio live, and I felt like even while doing that, I had too much angst and anxiety and nervousness about how things were playing out because it felt like an utterly dominant performance by the Beavers. And yet here it is, 7-3, close to the end of halftime, and then some less than stellar clock management on the part of Jonathan Smith's counterpart, giving the Beavers an open door to get that second touchdown just before the half. So going in 14-3 and that hit from DJU to Deshaun Fenwick, I kind of, as a fan and announcer for the team, felt a big sigh of relief. And then I felt the Beavers dominated the entire third quarter, were in complete control of the game. And then that too kind of seemed to slip a little bit in the fourth. So it was an odd kind of experience, the level of emotions just from a fan standpoint that I was experiencing. However, when I went back and watched the entire game from start to finish, I came away feeling better about the overall physical pounding the Beavers put on Colorado on both sides of the ball. The win looked better the second time around in terms of maybe how some of those anxious moments felt. So all in all, a very good win for the Beavers.
It wasn't always pretty, for Oregon State. I mean, defensively, they dominated for the vast majority of the game. The offense during the first half struggled a little bit. They had a couple turnovers. They left, some plays on the field. But, like AJ said, I think, they did what they needed to do to come out with a victory, which was what, that was number one. They had to come out with a victory. And going back and looking at the game, you do see like the different elements that were really of importance. The ability to run the ball, they did that. The ability to stop the run, they did that. The ability to put pressure on Shedeur Sanders, they did that as well. So I'm happy with the way that they played. Could they have played better? Absolutely. But most importantly, they came out with the victory, and now it's on to the next game.
A win is a win, and you will take it no matter how it comes. Let's dive into what it took to get the win. Right now, it is time for our opening drive, brought to you by Capital Toyota, your way on the Parkway. You guys both referenced the defense and Shedeur Sanders, how important, how critical it was for Oregon State to do what they could to contain one of the nation's leading passers, and they did that, especially first half. Held Sanders to just 41 yards, and then even though he ended up with 245 yards, throughout the entire game, that's still nearly 100 yards less than his season average. Afterwards, the defense making it no secret that was exactly their game plan.
We're gonna move into this game. Punish him every single play, no matter what, no matter where he is. Make sure he's feeling it, regardless of if he gets the ball out or not. So I think we did a good job accomplishing that. Got him hurt in the end, and credit to him, he was able to finish the game. He's a tough player, good player. But yeah, pressure on him at all times was our mindset.
I mean, it was huge, just coming into this environment and playing against this type of team, talented team. I tip my hat off to the coaches and what they're doing. I think it was just a major win for us. Really.
Jayson, it's one thing to know that an opposing team is going to come in and try to stop your quarterback, but apparently Colorado finding out it's another thing to try and stop it for the entire game. How critical was it for this defense, Oregon State's defense in particular, to prove that they could come in with a game plan and execute that game plan against such an electric player like Sanders?
Oh, I think it was incredibly important. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret, and the viewers as well. That is the intent and the game plan for every game that defense goes into. So there's no surprise there. But the ability for them to do it at Colorado, it was truly what they needed, especially after the loss against Arizona. I think Easton Mascarenas Arnold had one of the best performances I've seen him have, especially after a subpar game against Arizona. He was all over the field, and the same thing with Chatfield as well too. That defense was they were playing with reckless abandon, and they were playing pissed off. So kudos to them on that.
Yeah, and it was constant, relentless pressure through the first three quarters in particular. We even saw Shedeur at one point fall to his knees when he wasn't sacked. It's almost like, okay, I know it's coming. I'm just going to drop down and cut my losses here and avoid a big hit. I haven't seen that happen very often. Andrew Chatfield Jr., who was your guest, AJ, last week, good call on your part to ask him to come on the show, because he ends up being the Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Week and the Pac-12 Defensive Lineman of the Week. He sweeps those awards, and he well deserved it. I will say, Jayson, I don't know if you saw this too. You were there, 5,630 feet. I thought that relentless pressure at that high altitude and chasing Shedeur around, making life miserable for him, I think there was a little bit of a price to pay in the fourth quarter when I looked out at times and just saw some exhausted players on both sides. But through 3 quarters, it was an amazing show that defense put on.
Agreed.
And Mike, I'm so glad you brought up the fact that we had Chatfield on our show last week. We had Easton Mascarenas-Arnold on a few weeks ago, and that leads us to this week's guest. He is somebody who maybe is not the most well-known player on the offense, but my goodness, every single time he gets in the game, his intention is to make an impact. We're talking to Aiden Childs next on Talkin Beavers. Talkin Beavers is presented by Par Lumber. This week's legendary moment is presented by Abby's, a legendary pizza tradition. We are so excited to be joined now by Oregon State quarterback Aiden Childs. Aiden, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Of course. So we're so excited to get to know you a little bit better. I want to dive into the football side first, because you and DJ Uiagalelei seem to have figured out a pretty interesting, unique aspect here of college football. A 2-quarterback system is not something that we typically see, and yet you and DJ seem to figure it out every single game. You're effective every time you get into the game. What is it about your relationship with DJ that makes this work?
I think just, me being able to get one drive and make the most opportunity every time, it's just me going out there and playing football to the best of my abilities, how I know how. But at the same time, it's, first of all, watching the first 2 drives that DJ plays, learning from what he did. And if he makes a mistake, then I pick up on that. If he does something good, then I also pick up on that. And it's just, he helps me when he comes off the field. He tells me what he sees. And it just works. I don't know. It just works.
How have you mentally approached this 2-quarterback system and your role in it?
I talk to Smith a lot, and Coach Smith, and I just think he just we have a little saying, go hunt. And that's what I have to do. It's just my one drive, make the opportunity, make it count,
You mentioned Jonathan Smith, head coach, of course, for you. And I want to ask you, what was it about him, Coach Lindgren, and just Oregon State in general that drew you to Corvallis?
At first, I didn't want to come. It was an unofficial visit, and I was like, dang, really don't want to be here. I like Coach Smith. I liked everybody. It's just the place, just Oregon, the state of Oregon. It just wasn't for me. But I went on my official visit, and this was the most honest official visit, by the book. All the coaches told me, they really want me here. I could feel the family, the love. They believed in me, and they let me do what I had to do. So, and I just liked that they were honest with me, and my parents loved it, so I loved it. So, yeah.
Yeah, you mean from sunny Los Angeles, the transition to the cold, gray Pacific Northwest was a little bit difficult for you?
Yeah, it was a lot. But, every time I showed up, it rained. It's dang, but it's okay. It is what it is. I'm here now. Can't complain.
The state was not making it easy on you to fall in love with it, but now you came in December of last year, correct? So you've been there for almost a full calendar year. What have you started to really find your groove with in Corvallis?
School was one of the harder aspects, but just overall, just being able to function without my parents also, being my own person. And it wasn't that hard to adjust to. It was just some things you be like, dang, I wish they were here, but it's that, and football came relatively easy. It wasn't the hardest thing out of everything to adjust to, but the hardest thing to adjust to for football was just learning the playbook and being a quarterback, because in high school I didn't have to watch film, go over playbook. We knew what we were doing. We went out there and we played football. But now you have to know jobs. You have to know what everybody's doing. You have to be the leader. And that was a hard thing for me to adjust to, but it's working out so far, and I think I'm doing pretty good at it.
Who did you lean on to sort of develop your leadership style as a quarterback in college?
Well, I talk to my dad often simply because, he played college football. He's been through it. He knows. He played a different position, but it is what it is. But I really talked to Coach Boyer, actually. Coach Boyer a lot. I like Coach Boyer. He's our QC, I believe. But what's it called? He really helped me a lot. Coach Smith helped me a lot. DJ, talked to them. It's really not even just the quarterback group, though. It's really everybody. I leaned on a lot of people just to understand what I had to do to play. And they helped me so much, and I wouldn't be here
wouldn't be in the position I'm in today without the help that I got from the other players and other teammates.
You mentioned your parents a few times, so I want to talk about your relationship with them. First, let's talk about your dad. He played college football. What position, where did he go, and how did that impact your love for the game?
Well, he went to Langston University in Oklahoma, NAIA, play receiver. And I don't really think his like football career impacted me a lot, but it's more just like football runs in the family at this point. Just keep playing, you know. I'm grateful for him simply because he has been through the stuff I've been through, and I can talk to him about these things and finally have somebody that can understand what I'm going through. And I don't really understand that I don't have to go through this alone. And it's good to have him, you know.
So important to have your family supporting you. And I know your mom, Nicole, went through a very scary diagnosis early in your high school career. Walk us through what happened to her and how that affected you as a family.
Honestly, my mom got diagnosed with breast cancer, I believe, my sophomore year. And I don't really think it impacted the family as hard as as hard as we should have been impacted, simply because my mom's a strong woman and I appreciate her every day. And she's actually out here. She's gonna be out here soon. I don't know where she is right now, but you know, it's just we knew she was gonna battle and we knew she was gonna get through it. But at the same time, we didn't really nobody really went out their way to baby her or anything. Like she still stood her own, and I don't know. I'm really proud of her for what she did, and I thank her for just being so strong for us. Simply because like if she wasn't strong, we probably weren't gonna be strong either. And I'm so happy she got through it, and I'm so happy to see her thriving today.
What are the character traits you think you inherited from your parents?
Resilience and confidence, really. Humility as well, just being humble, because they taught me that like you don't get anything from being cocky, and it is what it is. High school was not. They know high school wasn't easy for me. I only played one real season of high school football, and that's just and it just took a lot of everything: courage, resilience, confidence, and I just had to believe in myself. And I'm so thankful that I got to be with them and take some things from them throughout the way.
So then how would you describe your style of play?
Really just a quarterback with energy. I just feel like there shouldn't be a dull moment when I'm in. It's just more just like I'm gonna go out there and I'm either gonna make a play or something big's gonna happen. That's how I feel every time. Like every time I get in, we're gonna score. That's just how I see it, and then we have to. That's my goal. So yeah.
You got to go hunt.
Go hunt, yes, ma'am.
I love it. Aiden, thank you so much for joining us today. So cool to get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
We'll have more Talkin Beavers when we return. Talkin Beavers is presented by Par Lumber. Stay ready with Leatherman. Leave nothing undone. Welcome back to Talking Beavers. So appropriate that we're diving into Aiden Child's interview in this segment, Jayson, because you want to talk about somebody who leaves nothing undone so that he can have an impact and go hunt every time his number gets called by Jonathan Smith. What stood out to you about Childs and the two-quarterback system, how it's working in Corvallis?
Well, the fascinating thing to me, AJ and Mike, is that like he has to stay ready. He has to obviously come. He knows when he's coming in on third series of every game. And every single time he comes in, he brings a different element to the game, an element that DJ doesn't necessarily bring. He's a little bit more mobile. Even in the Colorado game, you saw that he came in during the third series, was able to lead the team down the field, and he ended up scoring a touchdown on that QB draw. So I think, you know, the thing with Aiden, here's the other aspect of what I liked about that interview, is that he spoke to the fact that when he first came to Oregon, you know, being a Cali kid, he didn't really love it. Now, I know exactly what he means by that. The weather is a little bit subpar. It's not necessarily the same as, you know, clear skies and the sunny weather that you get in California. I had a similar type of experience when I came, but the one thing that I really appreciated was the coaching staff and how I felt around the team. And you could tell that he loves his players, he loves his teammates, he loves his coaches, and I could appreciate everything that he was saying during the interview.
And Jayson, thank you so much for touching on that part of it. The skill set is evident, palpable week to week when he goes in. I think the two-quarterback system is working beautifully for Jonathan Smith and Brian Lindgren and DJU and Aiden. They love and respect each other. That came through in the interview as well, AJ. But that sense of trust in making the decision, such wisdom beyond his years for Aiden to make a decision not based on so many other things, weather, glitz and glamour, whatever else. He made a choice for his life on the people that were going to be coaching him and mentoring him and helping him in this big transition in his life.
Exactly that, Mike. That was the impression I left that interview with, is that we're just getting a taste this season of what Aiden Childs can become as a college quarterback. And I, for one, am excited that Beaver Nation looks like they're going to have a front row seat to that process. All right, coming up, Stanford is coming to Corvallis this weekend. We're going to dive into the Cardinal and what it's going to take for the Beavers to get the win, plus some extracurricular festivities that are really important to Beaver Nation. All of that when we return. Talkin Beavers is presented by Par Lumber. After a few games on the road, Oregon State returns to Corvallis this weekend to take on the Stanford Cardinal. Mike, we're going to get to the game in just a minute, but there's a lot of fanfare happening in Corvallis this weekend as well.
It is homecoming, it's Hall of Fame weekend, it's Veterans Day on Saturday. There'll be a 100-yard flag covering the field, weather permitting. There'll be a flyover. I think it's going to permit for a 2:30 kickoff. But Friday night, the night before the game, the Hall of Fame ceremonies. And a lot of sports are represented. Bob DeCarolis, the former AD, will be inducted. Brent Berry from men's basketball. Two teams, the women's Final Four team from 2016, the softball team that went to the College World Series in softball for the first time in 2006. Josh Inman, a rower, will be inducted. But on the football side, Jayson, a lot of guys that you know well, that you were in a locker room with, that you played for, and Mike Riley. You've got Alexis Cerna, the greatest kicker in the history of the program, going in. Steven Jackson, who I hope you got to see in Boulder on Saturday night, coming back to his alma mater to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Mike Hass. I mean, this is a tremendous class, and speaking of class, one of the classiest men and greatest men I've ever known around Oregon State or anywhere. Head coach Mike Riley also being inducted. Jayson, you have a pretty good relationship with most of those guys, and I know you're proud and excited for all of them.
Yeah, no, thank you, Mike. I couldn't have said it any better myself. I think, I want to start off with Mike Riley. And the reason why I want to start off with Mike Riley is that, we all regard those that played for him, even some of us who didn't play for him, we regard him as being a Beaver legend, and he's a Beaver legend for a reason. First and foremost, I think there couldn't be any better human. And by human, I'm talking about someone who class, someone who is genuinely a good person to have played for. Mike Riley, if I had a son, I have 3 daughters, but if I had a son, I tell people this all the time, he would be the coach that I'd want my son to play for and to learn how to become a man from, outside of me as being their father. Because that's how much I admire and I care and I respect Mike Riley. And then you look at some of the other people that are being inducted into the Hall of Fame, and they're all so different. You have Mike Haas, a walk-on wide receiver who had the best hands I've ever seen in college. He had the best hands of any team I ever did, and just a truly amazing player that won the Biletnikoff as a walk-on, came onto the team, earned a scholarship. And then you have Steven Jackson, Action Jackson himself, someone who we both came into Oregon State at the same time. We're part of the same recruiting class. We kind of favored each other when we were in college as well too. Of course, as the feature star running back, I sometimes would be a little jealous that I would get people would confuse me for Steven Jackson. But yes, I am him. I am Steven Jackson. Every once in a while, it didn't happen very often, but every once in a while that would happen. Again, just very worthy of this Hall of Fame induction. And then there's Alexis Cerna. My goodness, when he missed that field goal against LSU, any normal athlete would have caved and they would have had a bad year. That man did not miss, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, I don't think he missed a single field goal the rest of the year. Are you kidding me? I mean, that is truly amazing. Truly amazing.
Incredible recovery, Jayson. Yeah, he never missed another PAT. It was the PATs that got him into a little trouble in Baton Rouge, and he recovered from that and never missed another one. And he, too, was a national award winner, the Lou Groza Award winner. So we got a Groza winner and a Biletnikoff winner. And I really appreciate you talking about each of those guys, Jayson.
Yeah.
They're all special. I neglected to mention Mandy Rodriguez from gymnastics, married to Kyle Bjornstad of the Damnation Collective. Mandy's being inducted into the Hall of Fame this weekend. Rachel Rourke from volleyball. All of them will be honored on the field Saturday. It'll be an honor to be around all of them. I'm really excited about what we're going to see unfold.
Absolutely.
So undoubtedly, Corvallis, the place to be this weekend, and it's not just because of all the amazing legends coming back for homecoming, but there's going to be a football game happening as well. So, Jayson, I want you to tell me, the Cardinal team coming in here, they're 3-6. It's a team that technically could be easy for Oregon State to overlook. Jayson, I want you to tell me, where is this game going to be decided?
Yeah, I think it's going to be at the line of scrimmage. I think, if the Beavers continue to do what they've been doing and pressuring the quarterback, stopping the run, winning at the point of attack offensively, and being able to run the ball, which they have done very well these last couple of games. I don't think there's going to be a lack of energy. I don't think there's going to be a lack of confidence. They know what this game means, and they know if they win this game, what lines up for them in the next 2 games. So I think they'll be ready, and I think we'll have a good show come Saturday.
And they'll need to be prepared, AJ and Jayson, for the 2-quarterback system that Coach Troy Taylor of Stanford in his first year rebuilding the program and the offense has used effectively. It's a team feeling good about itself. The Beavers are going to have to be ready to get Stanford's best shot early, but I think if they kind of withstand that and take care of business the way we know they're capable of, particularly at home, they'll be on their way then to the big showdown the following weekend.
It's a 2:30 kickoff in Reser Stadium on Saturday against the Cardinal. And of course, we'll be here to break it down with you next week and look ahead for Washington, Oregon, everything the Beavers still have in front of them. Thank you so much for joining us on Talkin Beavers. For Jayson, Mike, I'm AJ. Have a great week.